Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Monday.
Yeah.
That means it's movie time. You don't have your hat on, Tom.
Nah, fuck the hat. I just shaved my head, man. I don't need a hat on.
Normally
just
you're
gonna let this shit shine.
Because normally you're just like, what? Oh shit, where's my hat? Like you forgot it.
I could put a hat on.
No, it's fine. I'm not. Don't get all insecure. I'm not.
No,
I just wondered.
I just shaved.
I just thought you forgot it.
Let that bitch shine up a little bit.
Okay. You could paint some shit on your head. That would be cool.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. Hi everybody. Tom Ross, Evil Clone Boobs.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
All good. Boobs are boobs.
Yeah.
They could be evil clone boobs. Whatever. I don't care. You can say anything. I don't care.
I mean, Tom's pretty open to like any and all boobs, as long as they're large.
Yeah. As long as they're big. Well, no, shape has something to do with it too. You know what I mean?
Large and shapely.
There's different kind of shapes. You know, it's like it's connoisseur type of activity. You know.
Connoisseur boob activity.
Yeah, only guys would understand.
I understand.
You
Tom.
understand too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We're not dumb.
Okay.
We get it.
All right.
Y'all are so funny the way you think you gotta explain everything. I'm like, hey, it's not that difficult to understand. Okay. Seriously. You know what I mean?
I think I narrowed the fucking problems down on the Grand Marquis. I think it's fuel pressure regulator giving me that fucking random misfires. I pulled the fuel pressure regulator out of my fuel rail, and that shit was fucking encrusted into there. I had to fucking wedge it out with a fucking screwdriver. That's how fucking crusty those fucking O-rings were in there. And it was the same one from 24 years ago that went in there from the factory. So I ordered a new Bosch one. Put that in there. We're going to see. It'll be here in a couple of days.
Kevin said you got sun on your arms, which you do. You have a little bit of a farmer tan.
I was out mowing the lawn today.
Because he was out mowing the lawn, and he's been out working on the car in the driveway and shit like that.
Yeah. Worked outside today.
Yeah.
Like a man. Like a man does.
Like a man.
Like a man do. Make that shit more southern, you know?
Yeah, you're ridiculous, Tom.
Only thing was missing was the barbecue. If you have barbecue and beer, it makes it even better.
Mower. That's kind of good, actually.
Ride-on mower, everything.
We should grill some steaks.
Yeah, weed eat.
We'll get some good beer, though. I don't want any of that Budweiser shit.
Put a pool out there.
Make a
ramp.
Well, now you're getting real
Make
crazy.
A ramp so I can
jump off the roof?
No, so I can jump into it.
Okay.
On the lawnmower. On the lawnmower, yeah.
I was or on your motorcycle, that would work.
That'd work. I'd go over it in the motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody here now?
Like Evil fucking Knievel, yeah.
Yeah, okay, everybody here.
Tom Ross, Evil Clone Boob says, this was a really good film.
Yeah.
Just saw it.
Yeah, we saw it in the theater
I'm going to say, we saw it last night in the theater. Can I just say, I loved this movie. Yeah. I legitimately loved this movie.
Oscar didn't like it.
Every fucking second of it was delightful. Yeah. It just made me so happy that this movie exists.
Oscar didn't like it. He said it wasn't scary. That wasn't the idea of the movie.
It had unsettling moments.
It was just supposed to be weird and amusing. They had a lot of humor in it too.
It was like funny. It had like a lot of funny.
It was weird, you know, and cool shit was happening in it. It's like you're watching a 70s.
It was so
talk
good.
show.
It was so good.
It's kind of modeled after David Letterman, but like a loser David Letterman.
I kind of got more of like, I'm kind of going back farther than that because I'm kind of getting more of like a Dick Cavett show vibe, like from the 70s, like a little bit like that, or maybe even the Smothers Brothers show. Do you remember that from the 70s?
Pretty bad.
I kind of wonder. This is blowing my mind. Okay, so I didn't actually know this before we saw the film, but after we saw it, this was actually done by non-Americans. They're actually Australians. Two Australian brothers wrote, directed, and edited this movie.
I bet they didn't even live in these times.
And that's what I'm kind of wondering. Are they... I mean, they'd have to be as old as us to remember this, so I'm not really sure if they are. And it kind of blows my mind a little bit because the whole aesthetic of this and the whole tone of this is just so reminiscent of like those cheeseball 70s late night TV shows. It was just really, really well done. It's like there was a point where I almost kind of forgot that I wasn't watching something from that era.
Yeah, and it's in the aspect ratio of television. It's like watching it on
like
television.
A 4:3.
And it's real low res. It's like you're looking at a 70s television. It does show... You're watching it, and you don't see the commercials, but you see them take the commercial breaks and come back. And when they're in commercials, it flips over to black and white to show you what's going on live in between the commercials.
Yeah, to like handheld black and white camera, like someone was filming them behind the scenes.
Right, yeah. So it's kind of like almost like a found footage movie in a certain way.
It is a found footage,
Yeah, it'd be like you're watching an old Okay, well, it starts off almost kind of like a documentary talking about the show, and then it shows the show and what was happening behind the scenes of the show. But it's not like a lot of. I don't like found footage movies. This one though is fucking very stylish, it's real fun to watch. It's not difficult to watch because it's in a cheesy canned television 70s edit, and it works.
Man, they nailed it.
They nailed it. Everything about it is like late night talk show.
They nailed it.
And as corny as that shit is, but the thing is real paranormal shit happens into it. They got a guy on there who's kind of like what's his name? The Amazing Randy.
Yeah.
He's kind of trying to.
That's very clearly who that character was based on.
And then this parapsychologist brings in this possessed girl who's kind of like Reagan from fucking The Exorcist, but she's supposed to be 13, but you could tell the chick playing her is more like 20. She's cute as hell too, and she does some fucking creepy shit, man.
God, she is so good in this. Girl that's in her name's Ingrid Torelli. I looked her up.
Yeah. How old is she?
I don't know actually, but it's just kind of like I know they're always older than.
They're always old. Yeah, she wasn't 13. She's probably about 20.
She was so good.
She looked like Marsha
as soon
Brady.
as she comes in, she's like.
She looks like Marsha Brady in white stockings and a little bitty
she was just so like
70s girl outfit and braids and shit. Not braids, but ponytails. I think.
No, she just had straight. Yeah, she just had
Brady.
Straight parted in the middle.
And she was super super polite, but she kept looking at the camera and looking into the camera, so it's like breaking
way
the third wall.
Longer than
it's like fucking kids would do on those old talk shows at night. They would look into the camera sometimes. It was kind of, and she's fucking creepy. She's possessed.
Yeah.
And it's a good flick. And then there's a twist at the end. I don't know if we should spoil it.
Well, see, that's what I mean. Okay, so this movie is like really, really new. Like I said, it actually premiered last year, about a year ago, in March of 2023. But that was at South by Southwest, one of the big film festivals. And I think that's kind of when the buzz around it started. And then it got like a limited release. We saw it it wasn't playing at the theater closest to us. We had to drive all the way over to Altamont, which is about a 40-minute drive.
Yeah.
We had and they only had
your territory though. So
yeah, that's the
nice
one we used to go to when we lived
in
Sanford. That was the closest one there. But and they were only doing 2 showings, and it was at night. So we went like last night at like 7:45 to go see it, and it was pretty crowded. So a lot of people had come. So I kind of feel like there's a lot of buzz around this movie, and from what I could tell, like just from looking at a bunch of different horror channels and a bunch of different stuff. Well, Rotten Tomatoes, like the critics' reviews are 96% positive, and pretty much like all of the like horror guys I looked at, almost all of them like really, really liked it a lot. Like some of them had like some little nitpicks here and there, but it's just kind of like I don't even have any nitpicks about it. Like I can understand like some people's nitpicks, but I just had such a good time. I think this is one of my favorite horror movies. I think this is my favorite horror movie that I've seen in the theater probably since
a long time.
Probably since Hereditary.
Yeah,
and that was in 2018.
I definitely want to own this,
or maybe Midsommar.
I want this on Blu-ray.
I was gonna say as soon as this comes out, I'm gonna buy this. Yeah, because I want to watch it again. Because I feel like there was a lot of detail in there that I missed. Like I get what was going on, but
there's little details that because things were presaged, and then later,
right?
They you see when the demon finally does appear in full force, it's in a way it's kind of cheesy, but so was the original Poltergeist movie. Was kind of cheesy if you look at it today, but it's scenes kind of like
and it's period appropriate.
Period appropriate. It's like something you'd see in the 70s. And it does hark back to maybe Funhouse, maybe with way fucking not Tad, but the fucking that fucking weird kid that was in the Funhouse. What was his name?
Oh yeah, I
forgot his name. Anyway, reality starts to get warped when the demon comes, and there's this kind of like this backstory. I'm not going to spoil it 100%, but it has to do with Bohemian Grove, if you know what that is, which is like a rich boy.
I thought it was kind of cool that they actually referenced that actual thing.
They don't call it Bohemian
No,
Grove.
they don't call it that.
They call it Bohemian something.
But you know that's what they're talking about.
They call it the Grove.
Yeah.
And they're showing the owl and everything.
But that's exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah, AJ fucking exposed that shit back in the day. Says that shit's real. Now, the thing is that they're portraying it as a satanic cult. That mastermind, a satanic cult made up of oligarchs, basically, real super rich people. I think that's interesting. That's kind of like a pop view of it. I don't think that's exactly what it really is. I kind of agree with what fucking President Nixon said on the Nixon tapes about the fucking Bohemian Grove, that it was the faggiest thing you've ever seen. That's what he said. It was just a bunch of rich boys out in the fucking woods trying to join this fucking club, and they got hookers and shit over there, and it's just they're doing stupid shit in the fucking forest trying to bond, I guess, because they're
trying to be like, ooh, look how crazy
we are. Because they can't do anything crazy. They can't join the service or anything and go to war. They're worth too much money, you know. They're too pampered. So what are they going to do, you know? So they join these little dumbass fucking...
Snort some blow and...
Hey, yeah, we're part of the fucking...
getting some orgies.
The Buffalo Club or whatever, you know. Yeah, shut the fuck up. This is just nerd shit.
But see, I think that was kind of genius. And I read like a lot of reviews, and about half of them knew that that's what they were referring to. Yeah. Some of them didn't mention it, so they either didn't know or they didn't
know what they were talking about.
Or maybe not. Maybe they thought that was made up. But I really did like how this leaned into the whole satanic panic. Because a lot of stuff... Here's the thing. And if you didn't grow up during this time period or you don't know a lot about this time period, you might not know, because some of the stuff that they're referring to is real shit. Like the guy that they guess they have on the show, whose name is, what was his name on the show? Shit, I can't remember. The guy Carmichael.
Yeah.
That was the skeptic guy.
Yeah.
He was a magician.
Yeah, Carmichael.
Yeah, the condescending guy.
Yeah, and he's great. That actor is fucking great.
Yeah, I've seen him in some other stuff. Ian Bliss, his name is.
He's great, yeah.
And he's obviously supposed to be James the Amazing Randi, and the whole thing because the whole thing is staged as like I said, an episode of a 1977 nighttime talk show that was live, and it was Halloween night. And, you know, stuff went horribly wrong, and we're showing you the tape of it, you know what I mean? So the first guest that they have is this quote-unquote medium or psychic who can supposedly talk to the dead, and he does, like, all this obvious cold reading shit, and he's kind of bombing a little bit, and he's called Christu. And that whole thing where he's on, and then he's doing the cold reading, and then they bring the skeptic guy out, and the skeptic guy is, like, shitting on him, that's based on the Johnny Carson show from the early 70s. I want to say it was like 73. Yeah. Because Johnny Carson was also used to be a magician, and he was also a skeptic. So he would bring Randi on all the time. And then they brought Uri Geller on. Yeah. And they both kind of started like piling on him and being like, challenge him to do this stuff because they thought he was a bullshitter. Yeah. And he couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, it was a very famous, he was. Yeah. But it was a very famous like episode of so I think they're kind of like referencing that a little bit too. Uri
Geller was a magician and a mentalist. I think he was from Israel, and he was a good one, and he had a real good gab, and he was claiming to be a psychic. All right, he wasn't though. He was a mentalist, I think. And mentalism is a real thing too. Fooling people into thinking that it was their idea. No, it was your idea. That fucking, what was that? That one's Damnation Alley or Tin Pan Alley. What was the name of that fucking movie that we saw in the Great Depression where the guy was...
Nightmare Alley.
Nightmare Alley, yeah. He was like a mentalist. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people are really good at that.
Some people are really good, yeah.
And the cool thing about this movie too is that for a while it kind of plays with that. Yeah. Because for a while, like the skeptic guy is trying to show... Because, you know, after the psychic comes on and then, like, shit happens with him, and then the skeptic is on, like, you know, very condescendingly being like, well, this is all fake, and he did this, and that, and the other thing. And then they bring out, like, the kind of jewel of the evening, which is this parapsychologist lady and her, you know, I guess her ward and also her experiment, who she's written a book about, who is supposedly possessed by a demon. And she's been working with this girl named Lily for a long time. So they bring them out, and so when the skeptic is, like, trying to debunk them... He's trying to show that all of the stuff that happened during this demonstration that they did was just like mass hypnosis. So there's a great sequence in this where it's just kind of like I said, I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's kind of like a mass hypnosis kind of thing. Yeah. I really liked that.
It's got a lot of twists in it that you don't really see coming. And then it kind of comes back from it. It's not, okay, look, it's not a particularly deep or profound movie, but it's very entertaining.
It's super fun,
and you have a lot of fun watching it. This is one that I recommend seeing in the theater. It's good. And the theater we went to, there was only 2 showings of it, and it was packed.
Yeah, there was a lot of people in there.
Yeah, I nearly beat up 2 girls there because Jen says, "Yeah, God, you shut up." No, I was kidding.
Well, okay, well, yeah. No, well, what happened was... Yeah. What happened was, I got seats. I got primo seats because I bought them, like, early in the day.
Yeah, we were right up front by ourselves.
We were, like, in the third row, right in the middle. Yeah. Nobody behind us, because the aisle was behind us, and nobody in front of us. I was like, perfect. And so it was fine the whole way through. Like, people were laughing and, like, reacting, but I don't have a problem with that. Like, that's part of the fun of going to see horror movies in a crowd is, like, people laughing or screaming or reacting or whatever. So I don't care about that. But what I don't like is when people are just talking, like, during quiet parts of the movie when I'm trying to listen to the dialogue and stuff like that, which is what these bitches were doing.
They showed up in the middle of the movie with fucking popcorn.
I don't know if they actually came in the middle of the movie, because I saw them come in, like, probably about half an hour from the end with popcorn, and they sat, like, the row in front of us, but, like, a few seats over. So I don't know if they just came in the middle of the movie, why, or if they were bugging the shit out of people in the back and then went out to get popcorn and then came in and said, oh, well, no one's sitting up front, so we're going to go sit in the front.
So right up there and they just started talking.
And they just started talking, like, in normal voices.
Yeah.
And, like, I put up with it for a little while, but then...
I go, will you guys shut the fuck up? And Jen goes, yeah, shut the fuck up. And they go, and they said, someone said, shut the fuck up.
And then they did.
And they shut up.
But then after the movie,
then they got up.
I was just kind of like, wow, that would have been a lot better if those two bitches hadn't talked to the whole...
I had the damn garbage. I had to fucking...
And then Tom just...
I fucking throw the jujube garbage out.
And then he just threw jujube.
Like, what the fuck are you going to do? You weigh like fucking 95 pounds.
Shut the fuck up.
What are you going to do?
Like I said, and I even told him, I said, it's not your fucking living room. If you're going to talk during the fucking movie...
This is fucking
If you're going to talk during a fucking movie, stay the fuck home. If you can't keep your stupid trap shut...
I'll throw garbage
I did not pay $16 to listen to your verbal diarrhea. Yeah. All right? Just shut the fuck up.
If you're with a big dude, no, I ain't gonna throw garbage on you. But if you're just there with your girlfriend and both you weighing a fucking 100 pounds and shit, no, I'm gonna throw the garbage on you. Because your mama didn't raise you right. You think there's no consequences. I am Mr. Consequences. I will show you there's
Mr. Consequence.
Yeah, there are consequences to everything I do, so there's gonna be double the consequences of what you do. That's how I am.
Like I said,
I'm bad. I'm not
So
good.
here's the thing. And like I said, I'm not saying, and it didn't ruin the whole movie or anything like that, because it's like, it was kind of near the end, and I was just kind of like, I'm kind of used to people not being able to shut their fucking mouths for 5 seconds.
Most people are real good. Most people,
and honestly, when we saw Dune Part 2, not a fucking peep.
Nobody said shit.
Like 2 hours and 40, however fucking long that movie was, I didn't hear a fucking peep.
Now they say they're not going to be a Dune 3.
I didn't even hear any, like, paper rattling or anything.
Rumor is they're not going to be a Dune 3.
I don't know.
They said they didn't make enough money.
We'll see how it goes. Let's see. The Phantom says, is there any demons in this or possession scenes or anything to do with the devil? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there are. That's a, yeah.
Demon appears.
Pretty much. It's kind of cool because...
And it's a real demon.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of like...
Then you find out the Grove, the Bohemian Grove is involved with this shit.
Yeah, so there's like a deal with the devil involved.
Yeah, it was all a setup.
Kind of.
Pretty much.
It was kind of a setup, yeah. So,
and then you're not sure how much of it was real.
I think like all of it was real. I think. I don't know if I'd say they leave it ambiguous, because I don't think they do. Because he's saying, is anything paranormal in this film? Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's made pretty clear that this does have to do with... See, that's kind of a spoiler.
There's satanic cults in this.
Yeah.
And
like I said, it's very much satanic panic. It's like of that era.
Yeah.
And it's like they really nailed the whole tone of what TV was like when they're talking about these satanic cults, like an in search of kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, and how everybody thought of it and shit. They pretty much nailed it.
Yeah. And it's...
people were low information back then, man.
Yeah, but it's like
they heard some shit like this. It's on television and shit. It must be true.
The thing about it, it's like, I not only loved this movie while I was watching it, and while I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, I love this fucking movie. And I just, like, the whole time. But it's like, the more I thought about it today, like, the more I loved it. And I was like, I kind of want to go see it again. But I'm definitely going to buy it when it comes out, because this was excellent. Can we please talk about the main fucking guy?
Yeah.
David Dastmalchian.
Yeah.
Now, he's been in a ton of stuff. He's kind of one of those dudes that's kind of like one of those stealth character actors that's like super awesome in everything you see him in. I think this is the first time I've ever seen him in a lead role, and he's been in some big movies. He was in The Dark Knight. He was in Suicide Squad. He was in one of the Ant-Man movies. I don't remember which one it was. Last thing I saw him in was The Boogeyman, that Stephen King adaptation, which was okay. Like, I watched it, but I didn't do a review of it because it wasn't great. But honestly, he was the best thing in it. And if this gets him more lead roles. Oh, and he also hosts the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards on Shudder, so there's that. But if this gets him more lead roles, then awesome, because he was fantastic in this. Just so good. And he had to carry this whole movie because he's the host of the show, right? Yeah. And it's like he just portrays so much, like with his face and like all the kind of shit. And I love the contrast between, because like I said, they kind of show it as, like you're watching the actual show from 1977. And then when it goes to commercial break, it shows you like what's going on behind the scenes. So he's not like a completely different person behind the scenes, but you can see like the real person, and the differences are like subtle, but they're really like telling, you know what I mean? And it's just, you can see like him getting more and more stressed out, like as the show's going on. Cause like he wants all this controversial, crazy shit to happen on the show because he wants the ratings, right? But it's just kind of like, then he's kind of getting worried about how this is going to go. You know what I'm saying?
His show's not doing too well. He thinks this event this particular show will save him.
Yeah, he's trying to, because it's sweeps week and it's Halloween night. Right, so he's he's like, but fuck it, we're going to pull out all the stops. We're going to try and summon a demon on live TV.
Live TV,
is what he's trying to do. So a lot of people have compared this to the 1992 British film Ghost Watch, which if you haven't seen it is excellent. And it's kind of similar to that. Ghost Watch was similar in the sense that it was also broadcast on Halloween night, but it was broadcast as though it was live that night in 1992. As though it was a real thing, but obviously it was fake and they had recorded it beforehand. So this is kind of similar to that. It's also a little bit like, if you've seen the 2013 movie, what the hell is it called? The WNUF Halloween special. It's a little bit like that. And some people have called this, I've seen this called Network Meets The Exorcist. Yeah. Which I guess is kind of similar also.
Yeah, and somebody says that the girl's supposed to be kind of like Reagan, and kind of.
It's not. I mean,
the way she does it is very different. She doesn't look like that girl. She looks, like I said, she looks like Marsha Brady from the Brady Bunch. Same kind of clothes that you'd see on the Brady Bunch, and she's creepy, but she's trying to be very polite and very friendly. But she's a survivor of cult abuse. She was in one of those satanic breeder fucking cults.
Yeah.
And she'd been raised in it.
And they all like
she was evidently like suffered tremendous cruelty, and the parapsychologist kind of like adopted her. The woman parapsychologist did, is kind of like helping her. But she relapses, and she's possessed by a demon that comes out sometimes. And it can do paranormal stuff. And she knows about it, but a lot of people don't believe it. The parapsychologist knows about it. So they summon it on live TV, and it's good, man. It's good. It's good.
Chick goes terribly sideways.
Yeah, and the chick is real creepy. She's cute, and real creepy.
I mean, that girl.
Yeah, and
she stole this fucking. Yeah. I don't want to say she stole it because everybody in this was good, but man, she was really good.
Yeah, and what she did was she actually did come across as one of those weirdo people from the fucking talk show guest.
Yeah, everybody did. That's what was so great about it.
She was talking, and you don't look at the camera. You look at the camera. You look at me. Okay, and she kept looking at the camera. So she's breaking.
Jack.
She's breaking the wall. You're watching the movie, and she's looking at you, and she's creepy.
Yeah, she really like nailed the kind of sweet and innocent, but also like super unsettling. Like you could tell there was something wrong with her. Like as soon as she came out. But, like, not in a really obvious way.
Yeah, kind of like Carrie.
A little bit. It kind of had a little bit of that. Like but not as, like, pitiful.
No.
You know what I mean? Kevin says, I would watch a very Brady exorcism. I would watch that too, probably. But, yeah, I mean, just everything about this movie made me happy. Like, I loved the production design. I loved the commitment to the theming. I just loved the whole vibe of it, and I said, and it would be much more impressive if like I assume that most of the people that worked on the movie were not alive at the time that this is supposed to be set, which would make it even doubly impressive to me because they really they really got the tone like almost exactly right.
Yeah, they may have been alive. They might have been, when this was happening, maybe 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's about how old I was. Like, this is set in 1977. I was like 5 or 6 years old.
If you're in your 40s, you weren't around when this was happening. You probably would have caught. You would have caught like Geraldo maybe, and they were some of those shows were kind of like that.
Yeah.
But somebody was saying that the show was compared to like Morton Downey Jr. No, not really. Higher budget. It would have been more like very early David Letterman. When David Letterman first appeared in the 80s, it was a low budget show, and I liked it as a kid. It was kind of like this. Now it had a band. It had fucking the guy who led the band. I forgot what his name was, but they were all characters.
Who? Paul Schaefer.
Paul Schaefer, yeah. And then Larry Bud.
How did I pull that out of my ass? Wow.
And then weird shit would happen live, and it was kind of a low budget version of the Tonight Show, but people liked it. It was a younger guy, and it was weirder and funnier. So his show is kind of more like very early Letterman, and before Letterman got big.
Yeah, this like I said, it kind of reminded me a little bit of, I didn't see that much of it growing up, but like the Dick Cavett show.
Yeah, well, Dick Cavett and Letterman were kind of similar.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that, like from that era.
Yeah.
And I loved, because I'm sitting there, like, before we even saw the movie, I said, please tell me that somebody lights up a cigarette or a cigar on stage. Indeed, they do. Yeah. I was like, thank you. I was waiting for that to happen.
Early Letterman and Dick Cavett were real similar tone. Yeah, this is kind of a mixture of them both. They might have been talking about Dick Cavett, because Dick Cavett didn't make it.
I mean, it was a pretty big show, but I mean, the whole premise of this movie.
I think Letterman knocked him out.
Yeah, the whole premise of this movie. Yeah. Well, I don't know. That might have been like way before. I don't remember when Letterman started. I
think he was still on when I was a kid.
Maybe. Well, I perceived that Dick Cavett was like way earlier than Letterman, but I could be remembering that wrong.
I think he was first, but then I remember him vanishing around the time Letterman was around, because I used to see him too. He was pretty good.
Yeah,
but Letterman was better.
Yeah. I mean, because the whole premise of this movie is that it posits that there's this late night talk show. It's called Night Owls, by the way, in case we didn't say that. And David Dastmalchian, his character's name is Jack Delroy, right? And he's kind of like second to Johnny Carson. And he's constantly trying to beat Johnny Carson in the ratings. So they're kind of... They have like a little documentary type thing at the beginning, which actually I didn't know this when we saw it either, but the voiceover on the documentary part at the beginning, that was Michael Ironside.
Okay.
His voice. Yeah, okay. I thought it sounded familiar and I couldn't place it. But then I looked it up later and I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he does the documentary bit where they kind of give you like a little bit of background on his career and like where he was like on this particular, like they were setting up, here's the tape of this, notorious show,
If you're in your 40s and above, this is a fucking super nostalgic, but fucking in a good way, and it's like very fresh. You know what I mean? I want to say it does remind you of how things were back then.
It really did. It was very immersive. Yeah, I found it very immersive.
If you're a younger person, it gives you a taste of what it was like.
Yeah, because they did a good job. Of good. Like showing what it was like. And another thing they did too, and and I've seen other reviewers say, oh, they don't really like it when filmmakers play with aspect ratio just for like no reason, but this one did. It had a couple different aspect ratios in it, but there was a reason for it. Like when you see the footage of the show, it's in obviously TV ratio, like because that's what it would have been in real life. And then when you see the background footage, like during the commercial breaks, quote unquote, it's it's widescreen, but it's black and white. But it's black and white. Like somebody had a handheld and was like filming them while they were backstage.
You know that's not part of the public show,
right?
It starts off with a small documentary, basically voiceover.
Yeah,
and then it goes into the show, and then behind the scenes, and then I guess hallucination sequences.
That went widescreen again too, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So that kind of lets me know, because I think a couple, and this to me is just pedantic, but I think a couple reviewers complained that took them out of the immersion, because it's like, well, this isn't something that would be on the show, but it's like, maybe this is a spoiler, I don't know, but that didn't bother me because at that point, had the demon taken over and it could make you see whatever.
Yeah, you see, they did a thing, they let you know that a hypnotist could make you see things that weren't there.
Right, they set that up.
And then, I guess I have to see it again, demons could make you see things that weren't there.
Sure. And
it makes sense when, we don't want to spoil it, but I don't think this movie ended in reality. I think it ended in a demonic hallucination.
Yeah, he was seeing things
that the demon wanted him to see.
Like, I think that it had some root in reality, like what actually happened.
It showed him what he did.
Yeah, but he was seeing things like through maybe a metaphorical lens, if I want to put it that way.
I guess we could say you find out, well, maybe I shouldn't spoil it.
Well, I don't know what you were going to say.
That he made a deal.
Right.
Can we say that?
Well, I guess that's kind of spoilery, but whatever.
Yeah. Turns out that
it's hard to talk about movies without spoiling them. I hate doing that.
Turns out that the show host had made a deal with Bohemian Grove. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
And a deal for his soul in exchange for his success.
Yeah.
I can literally say that.
I mean, like I said, that's kind of spoiler, but it doesn't really matter because the experience of watching this movie is just so fun. And like I said, it's just so immersive. And I love that somebody took two genres that are, frankly kind of tired, found footage and possession, and kind of mashed them together and made something that feels like totally fresh. Even though it's a total throwback, like to the 1970s, it's still, there's not really another movie like this. Like I said, it's kind of similar to Ghost Watch, sort of. So it does have, it does have precedence. Yeah. But it really feels like something original.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm going to say Nick Allen is in the comment section. Nick is Michelle and Melissa Lavoie's little brother.
Oh, okay. From
Gulfport, Mississippi.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he was friends with my ex and everything. Yeah,
I have never met them, but yeah.
Yeah, he was just graduating from high school last time I saw him. Yeah. It was all he needed. That's all you need, bro. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. But I talked to Melissa a couple weeks back when I had to go see my dad. My dad was dying. And I thought I would be able to pass through Gulfport and say hi to her, but the GPS didn't take me that way. It took me directly there. So I went up through Alabama, through the back way. It saved me like several hours. So I went that way. But tell Melissa I said hi.
Yeah, we're glad you're here.
Yeah. You can say hi to Michelle, too.
Case and Lee said about this movie, then gotta watch it, going on 40s. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you don't have to have lived through this era to appreciate this movie, because you'll get the gist of it. But I think that people that did live through this era and know who James Randi is and know who Uri Geller is and saw some of these shows back in the 70s will probably have more of an appreciation for it. Can I say that? I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
I kind of feel like, because I knew a lot of the stuff that they were referencing, because as soon as that skeptic guy came on and he started talking, I said, he's supposed to be like James Randi. Yeah. I get what they're going for. But yeah, Case and Lee was talking about Johnny Carson. Yeah. Honestly, I used to watch Johnny Carson with my grandma when I was growing up, all the time. I used to love the Johnny Carson show. He was a really good late night host. Probably, he was kind of like the OG, right?
Oh, yeah, hold on. This is Nick. Nick wasn't Melissa's brother. That was Melissa's cousin.
Yeah, he said cousin.
Cousin, yeah. I remember. Now I got it right. Yeah, I remember who you are. Yeah, Nick. Haven't seen you in a while, Nick.
Murder Hornet said, ask Tom when he needs me to go to Bartertown.
What's that?
When do you need him to go to Bartertown?
No, not now, man. Fucking, I'm set.
He's set for a while.
Yeah, we're good for a couple weeks. That HCG's working out.
Yeah, he's into that. He's into that. But yeah, so what I'm gonna say is that, one thing that I do have to address, because I know some people were crying about this. Some people got upset because it came to light later that this movie had utilized a few AI generated images, and people were mad about that because there's you could have given actual artists a job and blah blah blah. But the thing about it is that, at least according to everything that I could discover, really the only AI generated stuff they used was in, the parts, when they're going to commercial and there's little like stills that are like, we'll be right back, that have like a little skeleton or an owl on it or something. I think those were the only things that were AI generated, and they were edited later by the art department anyway. And I think it was only 3 stills that were used, so I'm not going to get too upset about it.
It's just demon's face.
That was not. It
was practical?
A lot of this was practical. They did use some CGI, obviously, but they did use a lot of practical effects, puppets, and things like that. But they did use some CGI, obviously, like toward the end with all the lighting effects and stuff like that. But honestly, because some people complained, it's like, oh, well, they were kind of like, oh, the special effects look kind of cheesy, which, one, I don't agree with that. But two, it's like, even if they did, this whole movie, they seem to take great care in making everything as period specific as possible. And I think that they really succeeded in doing that. So I think that some of the effects, because there is some kind of, I don't want to call this a slow burn. I didn't find it a slow burn. Other people might. I mean, you're probably the best person to ask about that because you don't have any patience.
No.
I'm not the best person to ask for that because I like those kind of movies.
Maybe some millennial with damn patience of a goldfish, maybe, but
this was like super entertaining. Like paranormal shit didn't start happening. It was slow build up, but the characters and stuff were so entertaining.
Christo was doing paranormal stuff though.
Yeah, that's true.
Towards the end, and the Phantom's worried, was the girl actually possessed? Yes, she was actually possessed. It was not a hoax. Yeah. At least in the context of the movie. Of course, it's a movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she wasn't really possessed.
She wasn't really possessed. But
yeah, I think the whole point of it was that the demon was real.
The demon was real the whole time. And the devil was real.
But I did like that they set up that whole mass hypnosis thing. I really liked that sequence. You know what I mean? Well, because they set up that whole thing. It's like, oh, we're going to watch the tape back. And then everybody's like, oh my God, it was like mass hypnosis.
Shows up, says the movie's not scary. Dude, the movie didn't have to be scary. It was entertaining.
Yeah, it's like,
it was also funny.
Yeah, honestly, like,
it had some weird moments, man. It got kind of mind-bending, when reality started to fall apart. But no, I liked it. I thought it was really good.
And honestly, I disagree. I was looking at something earlier that somebody was saying that I kind of agree with this. I don't agree that a horror film has to be scary to be a good horror film. Because I have not seen a horror movie that scared me since Hereditary.
You're only going to be able to creep me out or to gross me out, like Centipede.
But I have enjoyed many, many, many horror movies since then that didn't scare me in the slightest.
The Shining's not scary. It's creepy, though.
Now, it scared me when I was a kid.
Yeah, but it's not scary now. It's just very creepy.
But I don't think that it has to be... I mean, it could be funny, it could be gross, it could be... It's lots of things. As long as it entertains me, I don't really have to be scared by it. I'm always kind of like hoping that it'd be scary, but if it's not, it doesn't have to be scary, I don't think. And this one, like I said, it had some moments in it that were like unsettling, but honestly, I liked this one because it was just really entertaining and it was just really funny, and I really liked the world that it created. Like, I liked that it just immersed you in this world. Like I said, it was so good at doing that I almost forgot that I was watching something that was made now.
Phantom says he's going to go watch it now.
Oscar says, when evil lurks didn't scare you. It did not. But I loved that movie. That was a great fucking movie. Please see When Evil Lurks. It's on Shudder. It's It's Argentinian. Oh, yeah. I know that some people don't like to... Some people are weird about reading subtitles. Yeah. But please watch that movie. It's fucking great. It's not scary, though. I didn't find that movie scary, but I thought it was fantastic. So, like I said, it's two different things. To me, a horror movie doesn't have to be scary to be successful. I've liked lots and lots and lots of horror movies that didn't scare me in the slightest. And like I said, I'm super jaded because I've seen almost everything. You know what I mean? Well, not everything. There's lots of horror movies I haven't seen. But then I don't think they have to be scary. This one had scenes that were unsettling, but not scary. But I don't know. I was really, really entertained by this film the whole time. And it sucked me in, like, right from the beginning. Just the whole vibe of it, the whole tone of it. I was just really into it. Because I really like... I don't know. It almost kind of reminded me of, like an analog... like an ARG type show, like on YouTube, like from back in the day. Like, it kind of reminded me of something like that. You know what I mean?
Phantom said he thought that The Intruder scared me. I don't remember which one The Intruder was.
Oh, the one with Dennis Quaid in it?
Yeah. No, it didn't scare me. It was.
That wasn't scary.
It wasn't scary. It was good.
It was campy.
Campy. I liked it.
And over the top, but it was hilariously entertaining.
I thought it was cool.
It was. I liked it a lot.
Cool. But it was like something you'd see on a TV, made-for-TV movie. But I still liked it. It was just.
Yeah, it was like a Lifetime movie, but in a good way. I'm not saying that to be disparaging.
And the premise, I like the premise. Fucking, you had creepy ass Dennis Quaid
with his grinchy smile,
and he is fucking eating up the scenery.
Oh yeah, big time.
Hiding in a professional black couple's mansion that he sold to them. He's hiding, lusting over the fucking hot ass wife. There's the white dude creeping out over the fucking black woman. The fucking black dude trying to protect her. And it's just a fucking great movie, man. I
had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, and Dennis Quaid ate it up, man. Yeah. What was that? What was that chick's name?
Oh shit. Man, I can see her face. Yeah. What the fuck is her name?
They were playing
I've seen her in other movies, but I can't remember what that actress's name is.
They were playing a real professional couple.
And I've seen him too.
Yeah.
I think he was in the Jacob's Ladder remake, if I'm not mistaken.
Wasn't he a doctor? Or she a doctor? Something like that.
Oh yeah, shit. It's been a while. We saw it in the theater. It was a while back.
They bought the white old man's fucking
and he
palace.
Seemed so nice.
Yeah, he seemed like all nice.
Oh, I'm moving out. My wife.
He wouldn't leave. He never left. And then they thought he did leave, but no, he was living inside the walls. Yeah, stalking that woman. It was a fucking great flick, man. I liked it. People in the audience didn't really seem to give a shit, but I just something about it. I liked it.
I appreciate a movie that just goes balls to the wall with it. It's just like, you know what? We know we're like a trashy, high budget Lifetime movie, and we're just gonna lean into that.
Yeah, it was good.
And just be as ridiculous as possible. And I'm just like, I respect that choice. Yeah, I respect that choice.
But the other one that was kind of like that, it was a low budget Lifetime type movie. Was one I generally remember that I don't even remember the title, but I liked it. I thought it was one of the better movies of the year. About this gay kid that gets his parents send him to the pray the gay away school. Yeah. Remember? And it was based on a real thing.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a good one too. What was the name of that fucking thing?
Boy something.
Yeah, Boy Interrupted?
No, that was Girl Interrupted was the one about
the
chicks in a mental hospital.
Yeah, Boy.
I'll think of it in a minute.
Yeah. That was a good flick.
I liked that too, actually.
Yeah, it was like...
It was based on a true story.
Based on a true story. And what was so funny is that at the end of the story, they tell what happened to all the characters. And the main pray the gay away therapist at the church school or whatever it was, turns out he was gay. He came out.
This is my shocked face.
Yeah. It turned out he was trying to pray his own gay away too. He decided.
I was like,
he eventually just
we
came
knew
out
that
and
was
said,
coming.
nah, he couldn't fight it anymore.
We knew that was coming.
And then the kid
every
was just
fucking
like, well,
time.
The kid just forgave his parents because they didn't know what they were doing. You know.
I wouldn't, but that's up to you.
I don't think they knew what was happening. They didn't know.
That's up to you.
They were working on on bad information. Nothing really bad. It's not like they tortured the kid or anything. They just fucking.
Yeah, it was kind of fucked up.
Just drove the kid crazy.
Right. Yeah. With him. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in that. We watched a Netflix miniseries the other day that was about one of those weird, super Christian schools. It's like, hey, we're gonna kidnap your kid in the middle of the night because they're troubled and they can't leave and they have to sleep in the halls and all this other kind of crap. Oscar says, by that logic, does a comedy not need to be funny? Yeah. We'll say, okay, I'm just going to say, I don't know. I don't get too hung up about genre. If a movie sounds interesting, I'll just watch it and I'll just kind of go along with whatever it's doing.
Okay, now look at Oscar. Says, by that logic,
that's what I just said. I just said that.
Okay, I didn't hear that part. I was reading what
Tom doesn't listen to me. That's why.
No, I was reading. I'm trying to fucking keep up with the comments.
I just literally said that 2 seconds ago.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I said that I don't get too hung up about genre.
Okay.
If a movie sounds interesting to me, I will watch it and I will. Okay. Unless it's like really offensive or really stupid or really giving me a headache or something, I'll usually watch it all the way through. Like to be like, it's like just take me on a journey.
Yeah, a horror movie doesn't have to be that scary to me, because first of all, you can't scare me with that shit. It just has to be entertaining. Like Poltergeist is not scary at all.
And honestly, I would argue if you saw a comedy and it wasn't all that funny, but it was still entertaining.
Yeah, you'd still like it.
Then I would still like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like fucking gut-bustingly hilarious. Because honestly, comedies, I have a lot of comedies that I like, but it's not usually my favorite genre because I have a really weird sense of humor, and I don't see a lot of movies that make me laugh like that. Honestly, the last movie that did that was, and I'm not even sure if this is a comedy, was Poor Things. I guess it's a black comedy. That movie was fucking hilarious. I guess it was supposed to be.
The last movies that scared me was back in the 80s have been The Thing, Friday the 13th, Part 1, 2, and 3. Oh, the 3D one scared me too. The rest of them, I started getting too old for them.
I keep waiting for. I love horror movies, and I don't even care if they scare me. I like them. I like the way they make me feel. I just like the whole aesthetic of them. I just like everything about it. So it doesn't have to scare me. I just watch it. I'm entertained by them.
Most of them didn't scare me. They just liked them.
Yeah, and same back in the old days. Yeah. It's just kind of like, but I'm always looking for one that'll scare me. Now, I will admit, like, Hereditary scared the fucking shit out of me. That, like,
it's pretty weird.
That, like, that made me feel bad. That made me feel like the way that horror movies made me feel when I was little.
Human Centipede grossed me the fuck out, but I liked it.
Yeah, and it's like, that's another thing, too. It's just kind of like, but I kind of like movies that make you feel like I want something that's going to give me like fucking nightmares, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's rare.
When you get to our age,
it's hard to do that. Like I said, Hereditary did that, and that's why it impressed me. Yeah. Prior to that, I think the last film that had done that was maybe The Ring, and that was from, what, 2001?
Hereditary was... At first I saw Hereditary, I didn't think it was
He hated it at first.
I had to watch it a couple times. I was okay, I see what you're talking about. What I liked a lot better was Midsummer.
That was a great movie, too.
Yeah, I liked Midsummer better. All right, that was just kind of like an even more demented version of The Wicker Man. All right, and it's folk horror.
Yeah,
and it's not the kind of horror that I don't think people would respond to. It's creepy.
And it's creepy daylight horror, which is a lot harder to do.
They're doing human sacrifice out in the daylight and shit.
Yeah.
And it's just a bunch of weird Nordic white people fucking out in some remote area, bringing back some ancient paganistic tribal religion, and they believe the shit, you know, and they're doing human sacrifice and punishing people for breaking rules, and you know, it's just like something out of Midsummer.
Well, I mean, like,
out of Wicker Man.
The cool thing about
I like that shit.
Midsommar and about Hereditary is that they're so, like, Ari Aster's movies are like so fucking layered.
And that had Florence Pugh in it, man. That little girl, that girl was cute as shit. The fucking big round head and a little body.
She loves that big round
head. I like. She's not always. And I liked her in fucking.
She's in the new Dune movie too.
Yeah, yeah. And then she was great in Fighting with My Family.
Yeah.
Where she played. That's one of my favorite movies. I got it, and I like the long version of it. That's a good movie too. Pugh's good. She's a real good actress.
Yeah, I like her.
Yeah.
The Phantom says, "What happens at the end of this film? Does anyone die in the film?"
Yeah.
Can we say it like almost everybody dies?
Yeah.
Almost everybody dies at the end of this movie. You know, so there's that. Like, in pretty horrible ways, too.
Yeah, there's a real demon.
Yeah, like, demon,
and it appears on live TV and it kills a bunch of people.
Like I said, it's a really good... It's not a long movie. It's like 93 minutes or something like that. And I think it's, like, really well edited. And, like, the same brothers that wrote and directed it also edited it. And I think they did a really good job. It's just like a real TV show. So you're watching a real 70s TV show, like a talk show. Yeah. So it's in real time. Everything's in real time.
And the studio audience is reacting to it.
Right.
That's in the movie, too. You know.
And the awesome thing about seeing it in the theater, too, is that, like, when the people in the audience, like, in the movie, like, in the live audience talked, you could hear them behind you. So it almost kind of seemed like, because, you know, in the theater
not sure
they have...
if that's the people you're with. Or
right, so it's like, so it almost kind of like, that's what I mean about the experience being really immersive in the theater, because it's like, it almost seemed like the actual people in the theater with you, but it was actually like in the movie, like it was characters in the movie that were talking. So I thought that was like kind of cool. That was like a nice touch, and I'm sure they probably did that on purpose.
Yeah.
But yeah, like pretty much, like I said, I know we probably spoiled most of this movie, but yeah, like pretty much
still be an enjoyable
pretty
watch.
much everybody dies in this movie. Pretty much everybody dies at the end.
Yeah.
In pretty horrible ways. So it's not everything was fake, or it's not like a Scooby-Doo ending or anything like that. They do kind of set up something like that. They do kind of set up some ambiguity in that regard.
Yeah, I want to see it again because there are some twists in there that I'm not sure I totally understand. I want to go back and see it again.
Because a lot of the stuff, like the little documentary bit at the beginning with the Michael Ironside voiceover, where they're just kind of setting up, you know, Jack Delroy's character and, like, you know, what the context of this show was, like, before they show it to you. they kind of like drop a bunch of hints in there that they don't really mention again, like over. So you have to kind of pay attention to all these little details that they're talking about, like to understand what's going on, like toward the end. You know what I mean? Because they don't really, I don't know if they really handhold you. I don't think they make it like too obscure or anything like that, but it's pretty clear, more or less, like what's going on. But you do have to kind of pay attention to the shit they said at the beginning.
There's a couple other levels going on in there.
Yeah.
See it again.
Yeah. So
there's reality starts to fall apart in the movie. You're not quite sure what's real. You know the shit's really happening, but visions and shit start to happen.
Yeah, and so
you don't
like,
know if that's
is that
flashback?
on the tape?
Is that on the tape? You don't know, right? Yeah.
Or is that the demon showing us that, the viewing audience, because they do kind of set up that kind of thing too?
Because a demon, or because it establishes that a hypnotist or a demon can make you see things that weren't there. But it's not. But it always shows up on tape if it wasn't there. That's the difference. The difference is that if a hypnotist tries to do something and makes you see something that wasn't there, you can go back if it was recorded and watch the tape, and you can see that didn't happen.
Yeah, because there's a whole sequence like in the middle where they kind of do that.
If a demon does it, you back, you can go back
and
it
looks
it's on
just
tape.
the same.
It's on tape.
Yeah, so I really like. So they were setting up that some of the shit that happened, like maybe early on, was obviously faked, but then like the demon shit, that was all real because they went back and watched the tape, and it was all.
Well, Christian
on
did
there.
Fake shit, but then some of the shit he did at the end was real, and then bad shit happened to him.
Yeah.
Because he got invaded, basically.
Yeah.
And he could hear some things. I'm not sure he was total fake.
Yeah, they set him up as like being a fake, and obviously he did come across as like real cheese dick and everything, and it's just like, but
remember, he came up with one name, and it turned out that the fucking hostess knows. I know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was but I really liked that whole interplay. And like I said, maybe it works better for me because I was a big fan of James Randi, and I remember like a lot of his TV appearances right around this time. He was on Johnny Carson a lot because him and Johnny Carson were friends. And it's like every time there'd be some kind of like medium or some shit like that, they would have him on the Johnny Carson show. James Randi would come on and they would kind of like debunk it because Johnny Carson didn't really like those kind of people either. So they're kind of hearkening back to that as well. So I think because I saw a lot of that growing up, that kind of informed a lot of my liking of this movie because I was just like, oh, they're referencing this and that and the other thing. And like I said, so maybe if you didn't grow up during that time period, or you don't know what they're referencing exactly, like maybe it wouldn't have the same impact. But I'm not really sure. It kind of blows my mind that 2 Australian guys made this though. I mean, it was... Oh, and this, by the way, it's in theaters now, and I know it's very limited. Like I said, we had to drive like 40 minutes to see it, and it was only 2 showings. And it wasn't even in the big, nice theater. It was just in the regular-ass theater. But it is coming to Shudder, I think, on April 19th. Because I think Shudder had something to do with the making of this movie, too. Like, they threw some money in. Yeah. So they're going to get it on April 19th. So if you have Shudder, you can watch it.
Jason says that his favorite horror movie is a Blair Witch Project. If you like Blair Witch, you'd like this one.
Yeah, this is, like I said, it's found footage technically.
Yeah, but it's different. It's
better. But honestly, it's literal found footage because it's presented as, here's a little documentary part at the beginning, and here's this raw footage of this TV show from 1977 which was notorious, and we're going to show it to you now. So I guess in a sense that is technically found footage.
Yeah, although he says that's in my opinion, the best horror movie actually is The Shining. That's a Kubrick movie.
I kind of go back and forth between The Shining and The Thing.
Yeah.
I can't decide between.
The Thing's pretty damn
But The Shining is the horror movie that I've watched the most times, and the movie that I will watch again tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day I never get sick of it because it's like every time I watch it, like there's new shit in it.
If you've read the book, it is the same story as the book. It's just from the viewpoint of Wendy. That's what Wendy would have seen, pretty much. Some things were different, but most of the things in Wendy didn't see in the book.
And I like that approach. I think, like I said,
because Wendy had no idea what the fuck was going on. Jack knew.
And to me, that's scarier. Like I said, and I've said this like on a lot of my stuff, and I think that was the reason why I didn't like the Stephen King written, Mick Garris directed TV miniseries of The Shining, because it was
the book,
admittedly more faithful to the book. It was very faithful to the book, but I think that was the reason that it didn't work.
Yeah,
that was the reason. It's a great book.
Yeah,
but Kubrick's film is a great film. That's two different mediums.
Books don't always translate directly to
no, and especially Stephen King's. I think that the best ones are usually the ones that are changed the most.
Yeah,
except for Misery. I would argue Misery's pretty close.
Christine was pretty good.
That's true, but they changed a lot from that, and that was Carpenter.
Well, they didn't tell you everything that Arnie was seeing with LeVay.
Yeah,
LeVay's ghost.
LeVay.
What's his name?
LeVay.
LeVay, right?
No, LeVay with a B.
With a B. That's
not like Anton LeVay. It was LeVay with a B.
He probably meant LeVay though.
Well, maybe.
Probably what inspired him. But that was. In the book, there was more of LeVay. His ghost was in the dark.
Yeah, well, they kind of changed that whole thing, because wasn't he the guy that sold him the car? Like, in the movie, they made it like his brother or something.
No, it was LeVay sold him the car.
But in the book, it was the actual guy.
Died.
Yeah, it was the
right
actual guy.
Died, so
and then started haunting the shit.
Yeah. So
but I kind of liked the way the movie did it better. Like, I really like that movie. I think it's really underrated. It's a really good Stephen King adaptation.
Says you can't watch The Shining before reading the book. No. I saw the movie before reading the book, and reading the book was even more enjoyable if you fucking...
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
It's the same story, but it comes at it from such a different angle. It's two completely different experiences.
And I have the Blu-ray of Dr. Sleep with the director's cut, and it's a good movie. It's superior to the theatrical cut, and it has... The Overlook Hotel from The Shining is in it, and that's a story about Danny, what Danny can do when he grows up. He's Dr. Sleep, and then there's other things like psychic vampires and shit. It's a great movie too. I really recommend Dr. Sleep, but see the director's cut. It's a much better movie.
There's a lot more in that.
There's a lot more in there. It's a much better movie than the theatrical release. The theatrical release was very fucking... A lot of shit got cut out.
Honestly, I have to say, the scene in Dr. Sleep where they're sucking the soul out of that little boy was one of the most horrifying things ever put to film. Holy crap, that kid acted his fucking ass off. That was awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, they got this damn vampire.
I've seen that kid in other things. He was in Good Boys. He was in some other stuff, too. That kid is a great fucking actor.
Got this psychic vampire named Rose.
Wow. That was
What's her name? Rose the Hat.
Yeah.
We got a friend that looks just like her.
Yeah, our friend Laura looks exactly like that. Like, every time I was seeing in their movie, I was... Because I know that same actress was in Dune, too. But it's like, every time we saw her in Dr. Sleep, I was like, God, that looks just like fucking Laura. It was freaking me out.
Yeah.
Laura looks just like that.
Exactly. When she has that hat, too.
Yeah, she has a hat almost exactly like that. So every time it was freaking me out the whole time we watched that movie in the theater.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of gypsy damn vampires sucking souls out of fucking little kids and shit.
Yeah.
So they could stay young.
Christ, that was a horrifying scene. That was the most terrifying scene in the whole movie.
Yeah, and Daddy finds out about him. He can detect him using the Shining.
Yeah.
And he's got to stop him. And the Overlook in the end he has a big old fucking showdown with him in the Overlook, where he could hide amongst all them evil spirits and shit. Isn't that what it was? He went there so he could hide, right?
Something like that. I can't
remember exactly. There was a reason. And when he gets in there, man, fucking all the ghosts from the Shining movie are in there, except instead of Lloyd is now Jack.
Yeah.
And they got a dude playing Jack that does a fucking fantastic fucking Jack, just like Jack Nicholson. He's real close.
That was the dude from The Haunting of Hill House, and he also played the young Norman Bates in in the Psycho 4.
Yeah.
That was the same actor. Yeah, Casey Lee was talking about Blair Witch Project, greatest horror movie. Movies like The Conjuring is kind of dumb. Honestly, like, I like The Conjuring, but I don't really understand the hype for it. Like, The Conjuring universe is, like, fine.
It's like something you'd see on television.
But I watch them and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. But it's like, I don't really get...
Yeah, and then you forget about them.
Yeah.
I have like the MCU.
Yeah, I've kind of... Yeah, it's like they're good when you watch them and you're entertained and stuff, but then, like, you forget about them
I like
2 days later.
La Llorona. That one.
Yeah,
wasn't that one scared me.
Yeah.
Not really scary, but seeing that fucking chick in that ghost in that wet bridal gown. That was creepy.
That was pretty creepy.
Yeah,
but I don't remember fuck all about that movie.
They had a Hispanic kid behind me. He fucking screamed, and then he pretended like he didn't.
Oh, that's
scream.
right. I remember.
That shit? Yeah. He was about
he was pretending he wasn't scared.
Like, oh, I'm not scared. I'm not scared. But bitch, you screamed.
He totally was though. We were laughing the whole time. I'm like, it's okay. You can be scared. That's what horror movies are supposed to do, I guess. But according to Oscar,
that's funny.
But The Phantom says Blair Witch 2 is the better film. Ooh, that's kind of a controversial topic. Honestly, I will go to bat for Blair Witch 2. It's not a great film, but I actually quite like it. I don't know if I'd say it's better than the Blair Witch Project. I don't think it is, like, objectively, but I think it gets unfairly shit on. I actually quite liked it. It's not really a found footage movie. They kind of went a different direction with it, and I kind of like that they did that. They're talking about Single White Female, which, shit, we should probably review that one of these days because I love that movie. Devora says Alien is my favorite.
Yeah.
That's also a solid choice. That's easily in my top 5. It always will be.
Movie, yeah.
Because horror in space is hard to do effectively, and it does it right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's just kind of like... And honestly, I know that a lot of people... And I'm not going to shit on people that think Aliens is better than Alien. Which, you know, that's a totally fair. But I personally, I like Alien better. Because it's more like a horror movie. Aliens is more like an action.
I also liked The Thing 2011. I have that on Blu-ray.
That was much better than I was expecting.
Yeah, it was good, yeah. A lot of people fucking dinged it because it was CGI. There was practical effects under all that. They said they looked great. But then the company that released it said, no, we want it to look more like a modern movie. And then they put CGI over the practical effects.
I don't think they would do that nowadays.
They would do it
because nowadays everyone's kind of like, let's do practical effects.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the acting was good, and it was a prequel. It showed you what happened at the Norwegian camp when they ended up chasing
which I love.
dog.
That's a great idea because the thing started like kind of with that whole
shows them how they found the saucer and everything.
Right. But yeah, so I guess we kind of wandered far afield, but that's okay. Yeah. But like I said, if you love horror movies at all, please go see this in the theater if you can. If you can't, it is coming to Shudder on April 19th, I believe. I really love that this movie is out there. I love that it got a theatrical release, and I love that people are going to see it. It's apparently doing pretty well because I don't think it cost that much to make, and it's IFC, independent film, whatever. This is their highest grossing movie ever. Yeah. That's come out in the theaters.
Well, it's just like a replay of the fucking 70s when the studios started to put out shit, just nothing but just cop movies, and then all of a sudden new independent people came, like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. It's time for the circle is now complete.
Just like I said, I love horror movies, and I will watch anything. But if somebody comes out with something like this, which is made with such
low budget,
love
writing
for the genre. It's completely independent. It's 2 Australian dudes. I think there was like some US and I think it was like UAE money too, like thrown in there.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Okay.
But
they probably got a fandom down there.
That's what I mean. And they really committed to making something that looked completely different, and like they're trying to do something new, and they're trying to do something fresh, like with a new angle, and they really committed to it, and I think they did a really good job. All the actors are good in this.
Yeah.
Like the fucking production design, everything about this just like made me super, super happy.
Yeah. This one and what was it? Gojira -1. Yeah. Lately.
Yeah, that was also excellent.
Also really good.
So.
And I liked that last fucking Mission Impossible. I thought it was good. And that just vanished. People forgot about it.
Yeah, well,
that was good.
It was good, but like I said, you get kind of like overwhelmed with all the big spectacle movies. Yeah. Like I said, I kind of like quirky shit like this. Mm-hmm. So the fact that this is getting a theatrical release and that people are actually going to see it, and it's like it's getting all these like rave reviews and stuff like that, that just like really makes me happy.
Theater was full.
Because I was just kind of like, well, good, maybe more people will make weird shit like this. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can definitely tell that it's like I said, it's a genre piece. You know what I'm talking about? It's made by people who wanted to, like horror.
Yeah.
And people responded to it.
And not just a cash grab. You could tell they didn't really care.
They didn't care
if this made money or not. Nope. They just said, this is what we wanted to make. This is our vision.
Well, you could tell it was the vision of just at least 1 or 2 guys, too. It's not something put together by a committee. It wasn't watered down. It was just, let's just tell the story. And make it look
we just
good.
wanted to look like this, and it's just like I said, it's kind of quirky and it's kind of weird.
It's gonna be a 70s television program,
and I love that.
Yeah, look good.
I love that.
Yep.
Camp Guy's talking about, as far as scary movies, the one with Ethan Hawke and the videos of the kids hanging in the tree. Oh, Sinister. That's a great movie. I don't think we've ever reviewed that. I've seen it several times. I don't think you've ever seen it, though. That's a real good movie. Actually, the thing they always say about Sinister is that they did like some kind of weird, I don't even remember what the parameters of it were, but they did some kind of like weird like scientific study of like, the scariest movie ever, and that won.
Yeah, Oracle says it's going to be on Shudder next month. Yeah, but
April 19th it'll be on Shudder.
I very much recommend to see this one in the theater
if you can. I know it's not playing everywhere. Like I said, we had to drive 40 minutes to see it.
Yeah,
because it wasn't playing at our close theater.
I support this one, and I'm gonna buy it on Blu-ray.
I'm definitely buying this one. We're definitely buying this when it comes out. I was thinking that earlier. I was like, I want this.
Yeah.
Because I legit loved this movie. Everything about it just made me super happy, like, as a horror fan.
Yeah.
So.
It was good.
Like I said, I'm glad it's getting a lot of love, and hopefully we'll get more shit like this. And like I said, fucking David Dastmalchian, please give him more roles, because he was fucking phenomenal in this. So good. Everybody in this was so good, but he like carried this fucking movie because he's like the lead.
Yeah.
So please give him more.
Yeah, he's good. He's really
please
good.
give him more parts. You know what I mean?
I thought the movie was a masterpiece of what it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely gonna be a classic.
Yeah, Case and Lee said I'm from Sri Lanka, so I don't get to these movies in the theater, so only on my laptop. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Like I said, I know it's not opening everywhere. Like I said, if you can, like, it's playing here in the United States, but just limited release. So, like I said, our theater 40 minutes away, and it was only 2 showings, so we went to that one, but it wasn't playing at most of the theaters around here. Oracle asked if I have A Most Malicious Murder by Melanie Fletcher yet. I do not. I don't have that yet, but definitely on my list. Phantom says hopefully it comes out on Steelbook. Wednesday show I'm jonesing for. Yeah, so Wednesday night show we're gonna do, and somebody recommended this a couple weeks back, and I put it in the poll and it won. So we're gonna be talking about the folklore of nightmares.
Okay.
So we're gonna be talking about the whole mare demon thing and like all, and I kind of want to get into like common nightmare themes and like what they mean and stuff like that. I kind of want to get into that too, like a whole nightmare extravaganza. I think that will be like super fun. So yeah, so that's the show that we're going to be doing Wednesday night. So hopefully you guys can be there for that. Tomorrow I'm probably putting up a video on my Crime Immemorial channel, which is going to be about the Dr. No serial killer. So keep an eye out for that. It's done. I just haven't posted it yet. So I'm going to put that up tomorrow. And probably later in the week, probably Thursday, I'm going to put up a review of Poor Things, which the Yorgos Lanthimos movie, which I just watched the other day, which was fantastic. I loved it. It's not a horror movie exactly, but I was super into it.
Yeah.
So
and Kaysen, watch The Shining, bro. He says, I can't watch anything based on a book and all this kind of book. No, watch that one. That's
like I said, the book and the movie are 2 completely different experiences.
But like, just watch it.
Oracle says, thanks, Jenny. A Kindle copy is now on its way to you. Thank you so much.
Kindle copy what?
Of the book that she just mentioned.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That is so awesome. I will review it next. I do have one that somebody sent me that I have to read and like review first for next week, but then I will do that one because I don't have any other ones on the docket. Tammy also says, ask Tom what he thinks about the fact that they might be making a remake of The Thing with Wyatt Russell in his dad's role. Yeah, I saw something about that, and it's like I wasn't sure if it was fake or not.
It would be good, okay, if it's kind of like true to the spirit of the original, all right. If it was practical effects, they got to be real good practical effects.
Please do practical effects. Please no CGI.
It has to be filmed in the snow, of course.
Yeah, just do everything real.
Yeah.
Please.
And you have to kind of change certain things up, or you won't get surprised. You know what I mean? But you know it's going to happen.
But you can't change too much, or everyone's going to whine.
Right, they're going to whine.
It's going to be like a hard
whoever's
balancing act.
Whoever's going to be fucking doing Keith David's role of fucking, what was his name? Childs.
Yeah.
Childs made it to the end, okay? And he's got to make it to the end. Because they were breaking stereotype in that time. I watched, me and my dad watched that in the theater. I was a kid. 3 times. Laurel, Mississippi. We loved that thing. It scared the shit out of both of us.
I can
And we were
see that.
discussing it on the way back, on the truck, going back home in the dark, out in the fucking country. They broke a lot of stereotypes with that because normally the black dude got killed.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like a running joke in horror movies. Like the black guy always gets killed first.
No, the black guy was, and the black guy was the only other guy to make it. And some people say, well, no, he might have been the thing. No, he wasn't the fucking thing. Pay attention. When Kurt Russell hands him the bottle and he turns and looks right and starts fucking drinking, take a swig out of that bottle, and they show you he's got an earring in. The thing could not replicate metal.
Yeah,
or
it's
the
a
earring.
whole thing.
He had an earring, so it was child's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do kind of think McCready killed him.
Just to make sure.
Yeah, just to make sure. Because remember in the beginning when he's playing chess against the computer, the computer won, and fucking McCready took the fucking whiskey and poured it in the thing. He was just cheating, bitch. And fucking fried the computer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think it was kind of the same thing. You know what I mean? He handed the whiskey to Childs and was thinking to himself, we're just gonna wait here, and he's thinking, cheating, bitch. He's thinking that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean that was the whole point of that scene.
Yeah, but McCready was going to kill himself too.
But yeah, because what else could you do?
Yeah, he knew he wasn't the thing, but in his mind. But they did question: Do you even know if you're the thing? They didn't know. I don't think you know you're the thing. I think when you're the thing, well, no, you have to know you're the thing because it acted and did.
Because it acted, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to know you're the thing.
Yeah.
So, but he probably just laid there and froze to death.
Yeah.
Because McCready was hell bent on containing the infection.
I mean, for the good of mankind.
But the thing is that his thinking was very 70s. He's a fucking Vietnam chopper pilot veteran, and those dudes, the 70s fucking American dudes were chuckleheads. He's using dynamite against the thing, blowing those fucking alien cells everywhere.
He's just spreading it all around.
Spreading it. Yeah. He was blowing it up.
Thanks a lot, McCready.
Yeah, thanks, McCready. That's the way a 70s guys would have tried to do it.
I love you.
We're going to blow it up, or we're going to hit it with a Trans Am. You know what I mean?
We're gonna hit it with the big bird. We're gonna blow it up, and then we're gonna hit it with a Trans Am.
Hit with a Trans Am with a bird on the hood.
We're gonna pour fondue on it.
That's right, and then we're gonna fuck. And we're gonna drink, and we're gonna fuck inside of a fucking van with a bunch of shag carpet.
With shag carpet, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
that goes without saying.
That was the 70s solution. Okay.
We need to make a movie set in the 1970s.
So yeah, McCready was making it worse, but that was the way dudes in the 70s did shit.
Then they invited the thing to a key party.
Yeah, that's right. Key party and swapping girlfriends and shit.
Oh my god. Like I said, we need to make a fucking movie.
Yeah.
We need to write a script about this. Especially since so many movies are like retro now, just like this one. All right, so are you ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, wrap it up.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. I might go have another drink, maybe.
All right.
But we'll kind of see how it goes. But yeah, so like I said, look out for my crime video tomorrow about Dr. No. I'm going to put that up. And then Wednesday night, we're going to do the show about nightmares and folklore about nightmares and meanings of nightmares and stuff like that. So that should be really fun. So hopefully you guys can join us for that. Thank you, everybody, for dropping by this evening. Thank you, Oracle, for sending me the Kindle book. And I will read that as soon as possible. And we'll see you guys again on Wednesday night. Good night.